have one of those days? Hey, our kids are home all day, plenty of opportunities to create that no good, very bad, terrible, horrible homeschool day. But you know what? You can conquer that day. You can do more than survive it. You can absolutely knock it out of the ballpark. You can conquer that very bad homeschool day. Today, I've got 5 common sense solutions for you for those days when everything is literally falling apart, so that you can take a day filled with lemons and turn it into a nice, productive, useful glass of lemonade. Welcome to Homeschool University, where life meets learning. I'm Diana Applegate, your homeschool guide and guru, and today we're going to solve that horrible, awful, no good, terrible, bad day, right? So what kind of day are we talking about here? Oh, wait, the day where, let's see, you throw in a load of laundry before school and the washer blows up, and then the dog has decided today's a good day to shred sofa cushions, the baby is teething, and your other kids are all grumbling and pushing and shoving and shouting at each other. Very bad day, okay? So what are we going to do with that? Well, number 1, we're going to plan ahead for them just a teeny bit. And this is step number 1. Think ahead about these. Think ahead by actually, on paper, making a list of some quick fixes to regular terrible day triggers that happen in your house. Now, mind you, your washer blowing up or your dog eating the sofa cushions, you can't plan too well for that. But other things you can. Things that happen regularly that create the circumstance of that bad day. I'm going to give you some examples here, because if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what would solve those problems, I just deal with them at the moment. Think again, there are some solutions. Let's try mom on the phone. There's a trigger for a no good, horrible, very bad day. I don't know about your kids, but my kids, mom on the phone meant, yes, Disneyland begins. And it's a free-for-all, playing every loud, obnoxious game we possibly can. Most of them involve running, right? Okay, for my house, when I wrote down that quick fix for mom on the phone, it was, hey, submarine mode. That is what we called it for a while, submarine mode. Before I got on the phone, I would say, submarine mode. And the kids would all know. That means go into the routine that we've already talked about and practiced for when mom's on the phone, so there's no chaos. Okay, here's another one, another common trigger, and I'm going to give you a quick fix, so you don't have to think about this one. Child with an attitude. Ooh, for those of you that had teenagers, I bet you've never been there, right? Okay, child with an attitude requires your attention. You have got to deal with the heart problem of that, which is going to take your time and your attention. So what do you do with the other kids? Hey, instead of just letting it turn into a free-for-all because now mom's busy with someone, probably in a different room, why not already have some activities planned out that you can give the other kids to do while you're busy? It could be something as simple as everyone has 30 seconds to grab a book and you're now going to read for the next 15 minutes, okay? There's a solution, quick fix. How about some more? Let's try unplanned events that take you out of the house. When my kids were younger, there were a fair number of elderly widows living right around in our little neighborhood. We live on a dead-end street. All those ladies knew that I was home during the day. So when they had something happen that they needed help with, they called me. Now, I am not going to ignore that. I'm not going to say to them, gosh, you know, we're homeschooling right now. Can I come over in a couple hours and do that? No, I want to teach my kids that you respond to people's needs. So we would go. But instead of getting there and then my kids are just little wild Indians because now we're released from school, woo, and we're not getting anything done. No, each kid always had a ready packed backpack. For when they were really little, mom had a busy bag, always ready to go. It had snacks in it, had a juice box, it had games, and it had books. If they were old enough to think about it, they were going to pack the things that went into that. So now that unplanned event takes me out of the house. I already know the backpack system is going to be what we go to. Last one, I'm giving you one more little idea here on a quick fix to a regular, terrible, no good day. Sibling problems. Gosh, again, that never happens, right? I'm sure that your kids all have halos and they are perfectly orderly and they never do that. But my kids, there were problems. So a little thing called an if-then chart. I'm going to freely admit I did not come up with this idea. There is a chore chart company that I forgot to go look up before I got to this video today. But if you just type in Google if-then chart, it will pop up. This is a great idea. Basically, it's something you post on your fridge that says, if you do this behavior, and you have a list of behaviors, then this is what happens for it, okay? If you take your sister's toys without asking her, then you are no longer allowed to touch her toys for an entire week or 2 weeks or whatever it is. Or how about if you say something unkind to your brother or sister, then you have to say 3 nice things and you have to apologize sincerely. Okay? Now, when that thing happens that threatens to totally derail your day between your kids, take them to the fridge. It's there in writing. Gosh, what happens now? There's no drama. It's just over. End of the chaos. So there you go. Thinking ahead, step 1 is how you're going to circumvent some of those very bad, no good days. And this brings us to solution number 2, because now we're going to talk about what happens in that no good, very bad, terrible day when it just sort of springs on you, okay? You're now in the middle of it. How are you going to take this down a notch and try to recover from it? That's where we get into solution number 2, triage the chaos, okay? Triage. I'm sure you've probably heard of that term. Basically, you've heard it in a medical setting like a hospital emergency room. There's been some sort of huge catastrophe, and they're trying to figure out, okay, which patient's emergency is the most critical, who has to be treated first. That's triage. But quite simply, the word just means the determination of priorities for action. In other words, when you walk into that situation, you're going to figure out, hey, what is the most important thing to resolve, number 1, and then number 2, and then number 3, until finally you get everything down to the point where you have at least calm, right? So let's give you an example of triage. Suppose that you have walked back to the laundry room for a minute. You're coming right back. The kids are supposed to be doing their schoolwork. Suddenly you hear a bunch of arguing, and then suddenly the baby is crying. As you exit and enter the room, now you realize also the dog is on the dining room table eating the loaf of bread that someone didn't put away from breakfast that was supposed to be your lunch, okay? This is chaos. How are you going to fix this? Number 1, you can yell. That's always effective, right? Or we can triage and figure this out. So the first thing you're going to do, hey, dog on the table, right? Shake the dog off the table. That's quick, that's easy, that's done, and maybe you can save some of that bread for lunch. Ooh. Next thing you're going to do might be a little counterintuitive. Do not pick up the baby. Yes, you can take a look at the baby, make sure there's nothing seriously wrong with the child, but you're going to go straight to those children that are fighting, because you got to diffuse that so that then you can calm the baby, right? So you're going to take the 2 kids that are arguing. That's going to be the next thing you triage. You sit over here. You sit over here. Okay, now we got a little quiet. Now we're going to go grab the baby, calm the baby, and kind of do a relaxation practice where you regain your mind for a minute. Okay, this is now going to give you that breathing room to go on to step number 3, where we start actually reclaiming the day. Okay, so now we're up to solution number 3, which is going to be regroup. This is the moment where you regain your sanity and start to get a grip on the day again and start turning over from that no good, horrible, terrible thing to a calm, redo, restart, do-over of your day. So this is where you're going to give yourself a chance to assess what's going on and to calm down. That is super important, because if you're losing your mind at that moment, that's not going to do anybody any good, right? And the day really is just going to go right straight into the drink. It's done. Instead, we're going to calm down. First way we're going to do that, we're going to contain all the kids. Whatever is going on, you're going to get the kids corralled and quiet. So if it's everybody sit down right where you are right now, or it could be everybody, you sit on the sofa, you sit at the table, you sit over here in the kitchen, whatever you have to do. Maybe if there's a big problem in the laundry room, that washing machine blow up, everybody sits in the hallway so that you know where everybody is. If you have really small children, assign a big kid. By the way, you, Sally, are going to watch Egbert because he's going to wander off. So that's your job right now. You're going to entertain him for just a minute while mommy figures out what's going on. Okay? Next thing you're going to do, you're going to assess what really happened here. What was the root cause of this problem? In our last example, where we had the arguing and the dog and all that stuff going on, okay, probably in my house, it would have been the argument was because of the dog. The dog was the root cause, because as soon as the dog got on the table, someone went, hey, you left the bread on the table and the dog's eating it. And the other person goes, hey, I did not. The other person says, oh, yes, you did. And now we have people just shouting at each other, right? And then the baby's crying, and meanwhile, the dog's still on the table. So now you know what happened. Now you're going to plan one step to resolve the problem for now, okay? If there is more that needs to be done with it, that's one thing. But you're going to take one step to resolve the problem, all right? In my house, if my washing machine blew up, my one step to resolve the problem would be call my husband. That'd be right. I'd be like, the washing machine blew up. You have to come home from work right now. Ah! Okay? But in this case, where we're talking about, like, you know, the kids arguing, the dog on the table, your one step to resolve the root problem would say, okay, from now on, we have a rule. We don't leave any food on the table, right? No food on the table. And when you clear your dishes, you're responsible for taking food off the table. If you see someone leaving food on the table, then we're going to point that out. We're going to take care of it. Now you've resolved the problem. You've diffused it. You haven't pointed a finger. You haven't had to punish anyone at this point in this particular situation. You've just said, okay, we need to get past what's happened right now and move forward. And there you go. So now you are ready. You are, in fact, at that moment, you've done your regroup. You are at that moment where you are literally going to turn this day around. Okay, so now we're up to the good stuff. We're up to solution number 4, which I like to call save the day. That's right. You're putting on your superhero cape and you are going to start the day over. You are going to have a good shot at turning that no good, horrible day into a decent day, if not actually a good day. So you're going to start here by mentally shifting gears. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to think about what are the 3 most important things that we have got to accomplish here. What is it today that we've got to get done? It could be that you're in the middle of school. Maybe you're going to say, what are the 3 most important things that we have to do? Now, mind you, I'm not talking about those little teeny blips where it was like a 5-minute delay. You don't need to do this step. But if you're talking about a delay of a couple hours, it is imperative that you do this, because otherwise all you're doing is looking back and saying, oh my gosh, now look at how much time we've lost. Now look how behind we are. Nope. Instead, you're going to focus forward and you're going to think about, what can I do today? What are the 3 things we're going to do today? If it's in your school time, you may say, okay, we absolutely have to do read alouds. We absolutely have to finish our math. And absolutely, Tony has to do his science project because that's got to sit over the weekend so that we can work on it on Monday, okay? That could be your list. Maybe your no good, terrible disasters are happening during the dinner prep time. Oh yes, I firmly believe that that is where everything that could go wrong absolutely will go wrong. When you are in the kitchen, it's just a recipe for a disaster. But so maybe once you get everything calmed down, you know, you may say, what do I have to accomplish today? Okay, I have to get everyone fed. I have to get everyone into bed. And then I have to get myself into bed. Okay, that could be the rest of your day. It could be like, nope, we're going out for pizza. This is over, okay? Whatever it is, you've got your 3 things that you're focused on, so you're looking ahead. You're not looking back. You're not continuing to dwell on what's been going wrong. So you got those 3 things going on in your head. You're going to absolutely make sure that you've done that root cause fix that we talked about in the last step. You're going to make it clear to your kids that today is on restart. This is a do-over. You know, be a little silly about it if you possibly can, and just say, you know what, this has been a crazy, crazy upside down day. So now we're all going to, you know, put on our superhero capes and we're going to jet into a new restart. You know, however you have to do it so that it lightens things and again gets your kids looking forward as well. Now that you are focused forward, now's the time then when you dive into that first item on the most important list, and voila, your day is actually moving in a positive direction. Now, I have something to add about this. There are those days that literally fall apart. I mean, it's just one thing after another, and it overwhelms you. Okay, on those days, you know what? If you've got young children, make a tent in the living room and read books for the rest of the afternoon. Maybe you got older kids, let's watch a movie. What do you guys want to watch? Okay. It could be as simple as calling dad and saying, hey, can you bring home a pizza on the way home because this day has fallen apart. It's been bad. Okay. What you're showing your kids there is not that you're defeated. You're showing your kids that you're flexible. You're showing your kids that some days you just have to roll with the punches, and some days life comes out on top, okay? And we don't necessarily end up where we'd like to be, but that's okay because we're not going to lose our minds about it. We're not going to let it ruin our positivity. We're just going to dwell in the moment and live with what we've got, okay? And things like, you know, if the power goes out, you know what, that was a huge disruptor because I live in Michigan. And in wintertime, the power does go out here sometimes, and then it's very, very cold. You know, that became an opportunity to do fun things like building the warmest forts that we could. I mean, whatever you have to do, make lemonade out of the lemons. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now we're up to solution number 5, which would be one that is actually a do ahead kind of thing, or maybe I should say a do after rather, but it's something that you do outside of the really terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. This is building bridges over the pits, okay? This is looking back at what happened today or maybe yesterday and saying, okay, what happened? How am I going to avoid that happening in future? If it is an avoidable situation, how should I have dealt with that to avoid triggering off that really horrible day? What do I do with that? This is where you want to get out some paper and a pencil, and you really want to write some things down, because I can guarantee that when you get past this day and it's been a couple of weeks, then you're going to find yourself maybe in one of the same situations and go, oh, what did I think of that I thought could resolve this last time? So instead, you're going to write these things down. Instead of sliding down into the slippery, gooey mess at the bottom of the pit, build a bridge ahead of time, be aware of what that bridge is going to be, and avoid that very bad, no good, terrible, horrible day. What a concept. So the bottom line here is to stop reacting to that terrible, horrible day and instead start proactively solving it. Start moving forward into that fresh start. And there you go. That's it for today. Please join me here at Homeschool University next Wednesday for more practical tips, purposeful advice, and positive encouragement. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. And then turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Don't forget to leave me a comment if you have a question or even a tip to share. And please, oh please, share this video, because the homeschool journey is way more fun with friends. Remember, you can do this because you are amazing.